It was a statement game in the NFC West on Sunday as the Seahawks went to SoFi and came up just a little short as the Rams continued to take care of business, winning that game down the stretch by the score of 21-19. And, Matthew Stafford came in on this unbelievable roll. He had 3 straight games with at least 4 touchdown passes. Well, that didn't happen in this game. The Seahawks defense found a way to slow him down a little bit, but the big story in this game was what the Rams defense was able to do. They had 4 picks of Sam Darnold. They kept Seattle out of the end zone for the first 57 and a half minutes, and then they withheld that great charge at the end, and we saw their kicker Meyer miss a 61-yard field goal that would have won the game. Look, 61 yards is long. I know in this day and age, everybody can make a 61-yarder. That's not necessarily the case, but you got to give the Rams a lot of credit because for most of this season, they have been defined by Matthew Stafford, as we talked about several times on this podcast. The things that he's been doing, why he hasn't been more in the front runner of conversations for MVP at the age of 37 in his 17th season in the NFL. He's playing better than he's ever played. Obviously, Puka Nacua and the addition of Davante Adams has been great for him. And one of the key plays in that game was a touchdown pass late in the game to Davante Adams, which was never supposed to be a passing play. If you go look at that formation, that was a run set. That was a heavy, heavy package near the goal line, run set going to the right side. You'll see Stafford at one point look over to Davante Adams and realize if everybody's coming in and he's got one-on-one coverage, I'm going to throw it instead of hand it off. So as you see the ball snapped, the entire offensive line goes forward as if they're run blocking at the goal line to get that thing going. They never dropped back in a passing situation. That was just brilliant one-on-one communication between Stafford and Davante Adams. He slid inside, easy touchdown, walk-in score, and that ended up being the winning difference in this game. And that's sort of where you have to appreciate what Matthew Stafford is doing. Look, he has that rhythm with Puka Nacua. He has that chemistry with him. They've been building on that for years. And when they got Davante Adams and lost Cooper Kupp in the offseason, people thought, well, now he's got Puka and now he's got Davante Adams. It's going to be great. And it is great. It just took a while because there wasn't that instant click, that instant chemistry between Davante and Matthew Stafford. The same way that Aaron Rodgers and Davante had that rhythm, whether it was in Green Bay or for that little bit of brief moment in New York City with the Jets. But what the Rams did on Sunday was super, super impressive. And you need to understand, this was the only game where you had an opponent and yourself, the Rams and the Seahawks. They were both top 5 in scoring offenses and top 5 in scoring defenses. These were 2 well-balanced teams. And the Rams got out to that really, really quick start and just choked the life out of Seattle in that game. As we said, 4 picks. 2 of them went to Cameron Kinchens. Matthew threw 2 touchdown passes, which was just enough. And it was the 5th straight win for the LA Rams. And they are now in real control of that division. They still have some work to do. And obviously what San Francisco did with everybody healthy is going to put people on notice as they absolutely pummeled the Arizona Cardinals. But what we're seeing from the Rams is that they can beat you in a lot of different ways. Kyren Williams ran one in, as he seems to do every week. They have a running game that works for them. They obviously have an aerial attack with Stafford and those wide receivers that is beginning to work. But it's their defense, I think, that doesn't get enough credit. Everybody still thinks of the Rams defense as, oh yeah, they used to have Aaron Donald. Dude, they have players. They have players on every level of that defense, on that defensive front, where they have drafted so well over the last couple of years, led by Verse. They have linebackers that make plays. They have secondary players that make plays. And they have a great coach in Sean McVay. And they have a general manager who is not afraid to listen to his head coach. The relationship between Les Snead and Sean McVay is, quite frankly, the secret sauce in the way the Rams have built their success. For years, the Rams' philosophy was F them picks, right? We're going to trade them away. We're going to trade them away to get Matthew Stafford. We're going to trade them away to get this. We're going to trade them away to do that. They went through a run where they never used those first-round picks, and everyone's like, you guys are crazy. But they found a way to maintain a level of success before their Super Bowl win and after their Super Bowl win. They are always in this thing. And I've said this before on this podcast. I'm convinced that if that game in the playoff in the division last year, it hadn't been snowing in Philadelphia, we might be talking about the Rams in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs instead of the Eagles. That's how good they were in that game, and the snow really changed their ability to do the things they do. And before Eagle fans get all crazy, I get it. You had the better record. You deserve the right to have home field and the bitter weather that comes with it because you had Saquon Barkley, who was much more suited in those kind of conditions last year. Not this year so much, but last year. So you had every right to have that game there. I'm not taking away anything you did. I'm just saying the snow, people always say it's the same for both teams in bad weather. That is never the case, okay? That is never the case. Some teams are built to do one thing really well. Other teams are built to do another thing really well. So in a snow game like that division game a year ago in cold weather, it clearly benefited the Eagles, who earned the right to have that happen to them. Again, I get it. I'm just saying, don't tell me it's the same for both teams, because both teams aren't built the same way. They do things differently. But what I like about the Rams this year is they can run the ball more effectively. They can throw it, and they can get after you defensively. And we certainly saw that play out at SoFi on Sunday. Now, the other thing that people are talking about in this game, and they're going to go on and talk about it for a long, long time, is what happened to Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions, and obviously it was not his best game. But people are going to say, well, that's what happened last year with Sam Darnold in that game against the Lions when it was for the division and he turtled and didn't play well. And they're going to say, well, look at the playoff game for Minnesota where he didn't play well. And that's fair. That's 100% fair. I'm going to give you something that you didn't think about, though. As bad as Sam Darnold played, and he played poorly for most of that game, he had one opportunity to make it right. One opportunity on that final drive, and he gave them a chance to win the game. Now, again, we talked about it being a 61-yard field goal. It's not a gimme. Jason Myers has made a 61-yard field goal before in that building. So it wasn't out of the realm of possibilities. But what I like most about what I saw from Sam Darnold is that he course-corrected. The hardest thing to do, in my opinion, in sports is when you're playing bad, suddenly start to play good again. That to me is the ultimate sign of a guy who does not waver in his confidence even when things aren't going his way. I'll give you a couple of examples. There was an NFC Championship game a few years ago between the Seahawks and the Packers, and the Packers were running roughshod over Seattle. And Russell Wilson was playing terrible. And then they scored on a fake field goal. And then they got an onside kick recovery. And suddenly a light went off in Russell Wilson's head. He's like, oh my God, we have a chance to win this game. He played amazing. Tied the game, sent it to overtime, won it on a long touchdown throw in overtime. Give you another example. Super Bowl 51. Yeah, Super Bowl 51. 34-28. Overtime. First overtime Super Bowl. Tom Brady and the Patriots were down 28-3. He was playing terrible. He threw a pick 6. Nothing was working. And then when they're down 28-12 in the fourth quarter, on a 3rd and 1 with about 8.5 minutes to play, the Falcons inexplicably call a seven-step drop. Dante Hightower comes in there, strip sack, gets the ball back, and a light went on in Brady's eyes. Holy shit, I played terrible. I can find a way to win this game. They went on to tie it, win it in overtime. You see Tiger Woods do this all the time. He'll be on the course, 3 over par, and then make 4 or 5 birdies, come in at 68, and go on to win the tournament. Okay? Guys that can course correct. And I want to give Sam Darnold credit for this because he played terrible through those first 50-plus minutes. Then he led them on a touchdown drive. And then they got a stop. And then he gave them an opportunity. He was awesome on that final drive, making unbelievable throw after unbelievable throw, most to Jackson Smith-Njigba, who was having the best season that nobody's talking about in football. I mean, he's been remarkable. He put his team in a position to win. They didn't win because teams win games. Teams lose games, not quarterbacks. It reminded me a little bit of the game between the Ravens and the Bills in the postseason last year. Lamar Jackson had a terrible first half, a couple of turnovers, awful. But then he found his rhythm, and in the second half, he marched them down the field, got a touchdown, had a perfect throw to Mark Andrews that would have tied the game on the 2-point conversion, and Andrews dropped it, and Andrews said, this season, I still think about that play. It still haunts me. He course corrected. So while everyone's going to give Sam Darnold a bunch of shit for how bad he played, I have to give the guy a tip of the cap because it would have been so easy when he had played as poorly as he played to just say, hey, my day, man, whatever. He was able to block that out and give the team a chance to win. And the other thing that is going to have huge repercussions about that is his teammates are going to have his back. And I don't know if you heard this, but this is what linebacker Ernest Jones basically defended his quarterback, saying, if you got anything to say about the way he played, then quite frankly, fuck you, is basically what he said in his press conference. You can look up the clip. And that's basically his way of saying, Sam's our guy. Sam got us to this position. He didn't play well in this game, but we are not turning our back on him. And I have to believe a big part of that is the way that Sam was able to course correct on that final drive. Everyone's going to look at the 4 interceptions and say he played terrible. And you're right. But when it mattered most, when the game was on the line, Sam found a way to course correct, and he gave them an opportunity. Now, it wasn't the best of opportunities, but he gave them a chance to win the game. And when it's all said and done, that's all you want from your quarterback. Give us a chance. Give us an opportunity. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Quarterbacks are paid really in 3 situations. To win on 3rd down, to win inside the red zone, inside the 20, and to win in 2-minute situations at the end of the half and at the end of the game. As bad as he played for most of that game, Sam Darnold gave his team an opportunity to steal a win. And quite frankly, as a quarterback and as a teammate, that's all you can ask for. You got to give the Rams all the credit in the world. They stepped up. They dictated early. They punched Seattle in the mouth. They kept them down. They kept them out of the end zone until there was just over 2 minutes to play in the game. And that's a big credit to the Rams and the way they were able to handle it. But you also have to take a tip of the cap to the way Sam Darnold responded to the adversity and still found a way to put his team in a position to have an opportunity to steal the game. And I can't wait to see what these 2 teams do down the stretch. But right now, huge statement game by the Rams. They have a quarterback who's one of the oldest players in football outside of the Joe Flacco's and the Aaron Rodgers of the world that is playing at a level better than almost anyone in the NFL right now, outside of Josh Allen, who had another 6-touchdown game. Give me a freaking break. Stafford's playing well. That defense stepped up, and they have a coach and a general manager who are in lockstep. And that sometimes can be a really difficult thing to overcome. The Rams are for real. We've been talking about that for a couple of weeks now. It is hilarious on some level that you can be in Los Angeles, second biggest city in the world, and go under the radar in football because LA is a Dodgers town. LA is a Lakers town. It's kind of a Rams town. It's not really a football town, but they found a way to make it work, and they're making it work now. And when it's all said and done, they might be the toughest out in the NFC come playoff times because of their head coach, their general manager, their quarterback, and a defense that knows how to take charge. And those are straight facts, homie.